10 students. Beta, today is our topic about pollination. Okay, because we are doing chapter number 14, reproduction, in which we have discussed sexual methods, sexual reproduction in plants. Okay, in animals and plants both. Then we have discussed about the cycle of a plant, that how and in which we have discussed about the reproductive part of a plant, which is a flower. Okay, and today we will discuss pollination. Definitely pollination also plays very important role in reproduction, so it also helps in sexual reproduction in plants. So now we will discuss pollination. This about pollination, you all of know about this earlier, that pollination is a process in which pollens transfer from one part of a flower to the stigma of another flower. Okay, now we will see the screen. Pollination is defined as the transfer of pollen grains from flowers anther to stigma. So these things are not new for you. Anther, you also know about this thing, that every plant consists of two parts. One part is called male part and second part is called female part. Male part is called gynoecium and female part is called androecium. So the male part, the units of male part are called stamens, and every stamen has anther on its top, and every anther is filled with spores, filled with pollen grains. And stigma is the female part of a plant. We all of know that female part is called androecium, and every androecium consists of many small and androecium consists of many carpels. So female parts equals to the top of the female part of a flower is called stigma. So what is pollination? See the definition again. It is defined as the transfer of pollen grains. Pollen grains are male parts, okay, from flowers anther. It is also a male part, to stigma. It is a female part of a flower. So they are transferred from anther to stigma. This is a definition of pollination. Now we will discuss the types of pollination. So there are two types of pollination are recognized. First is called self-pollination and the second one is called cross-pollination. So before that, we will discuss the self-pollination. What is that? It is defined as the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower or other flower of the same plant. What is the self-pollination? It is defined as the transfer of pollen grains from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. In this process, the pollens are transferred from the anther to the stigma of the same flower. It means it does not move another flower. Actually, the pollens are transferred from the anther to the stigma of same flower or other flower of the same plant. Okay, or other flower of the, it means plant should be same. That is called self-pollination. You can understand this thing with the help of an example. For example, there is a rose plant. So if its pollens can be transferred from the same flower, and if they can also transfer to another flower which is also a same type of rose. So that process is called self-pollination. Now come to next page. Okay, you can see on this page what is a cross pollination. I will also explain you with the help of a diagram. Okay, now you see the cross pollination. Cross pollination is the transfer of pollen grains from the flower of one plant to the flower of on other plant of the same species. Okay, so what is cross pollination? It is the transfer of pollen grains from the flower on one plant to the flower of other plant. It means in which pollen can be transferred from one flower of a plant to the stigma of another flower, okay, of the same species. Cross pollination is brought about by various agencies like wind, water, bees, birds, bats, Okay, so this is very important. You have to underline that cross pollination further can be divided into different parts. It means it can be brought by in different agencies. Cross pollination can be happened by wind. It can be happened by water. It can be happened by bees. Definitely, bees need sweet nectar. They like to eat sweet nectar. That's why they attract to the flower and sit on the flower to get the nectar. So at that time, the pollens are attached to its body. So when they sit another flower, so that's why these pollens which are attached their body, they pollen on that flower, and because of that, cross pollination is happening. Another source is birds. Definitely, birds also like to eat pollen. So when they discharge their undigested food, another flower, so it can cause a transfer of pollen from one part to another. Bats, they also play same role, and other animals. Definitely, birds like to eat flowers and leaves. So when they discharge their undigested food, so if there is a favorable condition, so they began to grow over there, and including man. Definitely, we also like to eat many flowers and plants. So when so because of that, and because of that, they can scatter from one place to another. And the big source of cross pollination is wind. If there is a strong wind, so there are different types of pollens. Some are the pollens which are transferred from one by wind. They are like parachute, okay, and they are in a light way, so they float in the air and fall on the stigma of another plant. And it is also happened by water. It is also a big source because of water. The they are float in the water, and because of that, that is transferred from one place to another. So these are different ways in which cross pollination can be happen. You can also see in the diagram, this is a figure 14.15, self pollination left and cross pollination right. So this is a self pollination. You can see it is an anther, okay, and when it bursts, the pollens are transferred to the stigma of same flower. So that's why self pollination is happening. But this is an example of cross pollination. In this process, you can see these are bees, okay, and they are sitting on the flower. They are getting nectar, and they get the nectar, and they transfer the pollens to the another stigma of a flower. So this is called a cross pollination. Okay. Now we will discuss further in this topic. The insect pollinated and wind pollinated flowers have structural adaptations that facilitate the transfer of pollen grains between two plants. The insect pollinated and wind pollinated flowers. So keep in your mind, this is very important. The insect pollinated and wind pollinated flowers have structural adaptations that facilitate the transfer of pollen grains between two plants. So some of these adaptations are described. It means that they have some things common. So that's why you can find their adaptations. So we have to see the table which is given in the book. Actually, this table explaining us about the different adaptations between insect pollinated flowers and the wind pollinated flowers. So first we will discuss the features. First we will discuss the size. And the first part is insect pollinated flower, and the second one is wind pollinated flower. So what is the difference between two? You can see size. Insect pollinated flowers, they are generally large, and the wind pollinated flowers, they are generally small. So this is the difference between two. The insect pollinated flowers are generally large, and the wind pollinated flowers are generally small. Okay, now come to color. Insect pollinated flowers have petals brightly colored. You also discuss in the structure of flower that structure of flower consists of first part is called calyx, second is called corolla, third is called gynoecium, and the fourth one is called androecium. So petals are present in corolla, and they are in bright color. Why they have bright color? Because the bright colors attract the insect. So insect pollinated flowers should have petals brightly colored, and wind pollinated flowers green color because here pollens are transferred by wind, so their petals should be only green or should be in dull colors. But if it is an insect pollinated flower, its petals should be in bright colors. Now the third adaptation is nectar. So insects attract towards the insect pollinated plant due to two reasons. First, they have brightly petals, and second, they produce nectar. Nectar is a sweet sugary solution. And what is happening when pollinated plants? They do not produce nectar. Definitely, wind is the main reason to transfer pollens from one part to the another part. So at that time, what is happened? Uh, they produce nectar, but they do not produce nectar. Okay. Okay, now come to the next part. This is a floral arrangement. Floral means how flowers are arranged in this part of a plant. So flowers face upward. In insect pollinated flowers, their faces are upward. But in wind pollinated flowers, flowers hang down for easy shaking. For easy shaking. Stop your voices. If you are not interested, you can leave the class. This is not a fun. Behave yourself. And next one is stamens and stigmas. Okay, so in pollinated flowers, what is happen in stamens and stigma? Enclosed inside ring of petals. Enclosed inside ring of petals. In insect, if there is an insect pollinated flower, means a flower in which pollination, in which fertilization is happen through pollination by insect. So here stamens and stigma, they are enclosed, they are covered inside the ring of petals. But if it is a wind pollinated flower, means the flowers in which pollination is happening due to wind, so they are hang out of ring of petals. Here ring of petals is hang out. Here the ring of petals is inside. This is the difference between two. Now next feature is pollen grains. Insect pollinated plant pollen grains. Small number produced, heavy and sticky. Pollen grains produce small number of pollen grains are produced in insect pollinated flowers, heavy and sticky. Definitely their pollens are heavy and sticky. Why they are heavy and sticky? Because the insects sit on the body of a flower, so they are heavy and they stick to the body of insect. So the shape of pollens are different in insect pollinated flower. And now on the opposite side, if we see the wind pollinated flower, so wind pollinated flower features are different. Large number produce light with smooth surface. Wind pollinated flower, large number of pollens are produced and they are in light color and they have smooth surface. So this is the difference between two. Okay, now we will see the stigma. So what is happening in insect pollinated plant? Stem has shapes with no branches. Insect pollinated flowers, they have spin head shape and they have no branches. But wind pollinated plant, what is happen? Feathery branches for catching pollen. Feathery branches for catching pollen. What is the difference between two? If there is a stigma, if it is an insect pollinated plant, it has pin shaped with no branches. But if it is a wind pollinated, definitely have they are like a parachute. They can float in the air due to strong winds. So they have feathery branches for catching pollen. So these are the adaptations which an insect pollinated plant and a wind pollinated plant can be adopted. So they are the working of both insect and pollinated flower is same because they help in sexual reproduction in plants, but their adaptations are different according to their situations. Now you can see the figures which is given in the book. The first diagram which you will see 14.16 an insect pollinated flower and a wind pollinated ripe flower. Okay, so these are this is an insect pollinated. You can see it's a sunflower. In the sector there are many plant, where it will get the nectar, and because of that their pollens are heavy and sticky and pinches, so they will attach to the body of this insect, and when it will transfer from one place to another, so they will pollen on the another flower. And the other side, this is again pollen, that there are many pollens, they are like a sac and they are hang out from the body of a plant, and when there is a strong wind, this sac is burst and they are came out from their sac, and they float in the air, and their shape is they have a feather shape, they are like a parachute and they can float in the air very easily. So this is the important. So this is the difference between two. This is an insect pollinated plant and this is a wind pollinated plant. Now this is a puzzle is given to you. What type of pollination is it? Now you have to observe the diagram and you have to tell what type of pollination is it. Is it insect pollinated plant uh, or is it wind pollinated? So if we observe the diagram, we can see it has bright color flowers. So what will be happen here? It is an insect pollination. It is an example of pollinated flower. Insect pollinated flower. I hope you understand it. Okay, come to next page. Boys, please turn on your camera. Hurry up. Boys, turn on your camera. Betty, I have seen your names. Please turn on your camera. I'm waiting. Okay. Turn on your camera. Yes. Habibullah Saab. Betty, turn on your camera. You can't listen me. What's happening with you? Why are you not taking serious your class?
सामने वाला ऑन हो गया, सेल्फी कैमरा नहीं।
Okay. Now listen carefully. Okay, beta, this is a figure which is given in your book, banana flower and developing fruits, and it's an example of grapefruit, grape flowers. Okay, so what is happened inside them? In some flowers, ovaries develop into fruit without the fertilization inside their ovule. So this is a strange thing. This is a strange um, information. I will explain to you. In some plants, ovaries develop into fruits without the fertilization inside their ovules. Before this, we have discussed this process in a detail. That in some plants, that when pollination is happened, first pollen goes into the ovary, and ovules already are there, so they are fuses with each other, and then fertilization is happened. But in some plants, what is happened over there? In some plants, fertilization is happen without ovules. So this process is known as parthenotherapy. Okay, and it results in seedless fruits, for example, bananas and seedless varieties of grapes. You also have observed that when we eat banana, we have no seeds inside them. Okay, and there are some types of grapes we can find in the market, they are seedless. Why they are seedless? Because in these fruits fertilization is happened without ovules. So definitely ovules are responsible to make seed inside the plant. So there is no fertilization is happen in the ovules. Actually they are directly convert into food. So this process is called, you can also see in the screen, this is called parthenotherapy. Okay, so you have to underline in your book and for your short question, this is very important. I hope you understand it, okay, how seedless plants are produced after fertilization. Okay, now you can see examples of insect pollinated flowers are buttercup, rose, wallflower, underline in your book, wallflower, sunflower, orchid, etc. Examples of wind pollinated flowers are grasses, hazel, willow, corn, etc. Okay. So these are different examples which are given. Examples of insect pollinated flowers are buttercup, rose, wallflower, sunflower, orchid, and examples of wind pollinated flower are grasses, hazel, willow, and comb, etc. Okay, so you have to underline all these things because these are important for your short questions and for your MCQ, especially for your MCQ. So I hope you understand how pollination is happened. Okay, now your new topic is that development and structure of seed. That how a seed is developed and how its structure is developed. So before starting this topic, we will discuss the side box. The evolution of seed has been proved as an important step in the success and spread of flowering plants as compared to the seedless plants like mosses and ferns. This is very important that the evolution of seed is proved as important step in the flowering plants. Okay, when flowering plants are produced, so before that, this is very important, the seed should be produced. So what is happen? Seed is very important. It is produced inside the ovary, and when these seeds are ripened, they convert into fruit. Okay, so you can see, we know that after fertilization in the female gametophyte, zygote divided separately by mitosis and develops into an embryo. Okay, so this is not new for you. You also discuss these things in your junior classes, that what is the zygote, what is mitosis, and how the development of embryo. Uh, Habibullah, can you turn on your mic? Please unmute your mic. I want to ask you, tell me the answer. What is what is zygote? What is zygote? जी बेटे try.
Yes, it is the mixture of both male and female gametes.
It is the
Mixture of male and female gametes.
male and female gametes. Okay. And what is an embryo? What is an embryo?
This is female gamete.
No. So now we will discuss the structure. Angiosperm seed consists of three distinct parts. Now we are talking about angiosperm.
बस आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
Okay. Okay, beta, I was explaining you. Can you listen now, voice? Okay, I was telling you, angiosperm seeds consist of three distinct parts. It has three different parts. First is called the embryo. Okay, first is called the ingenual part, the embryo formed from zygote. Second, the endosperm tissue formed from endosperm nucleus, and the seed coat which develops from the wall of ovule, which is called integument. Okay. Your embryo seed consists of three parts. The embryo consists of the zygote. Okay. Endosperm tissue formed from endosperm nucleus, and the coat which develops the wall of ovule, integument. Okay. So I will explain to you what are these three parts. First is the embryo formed from the zygote. So definitely I will go to when spores and ovules.
वैसे आपकी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
बात सुनो एरो मेरू बेटा ये बताना है कि मेरी आवाज नहीं आ रही.
आप थोड़ी बेहतर है नस.
अब आ रही है? Okay. Okay, bete, I was telling you, I think there is some confusion in internet. Okay, bete, I was telling you about the embryo development from zygote and spores enters into the ovule. Okay, at the same time, we have discussed in the plan that two sperms are entered, two pollens are entered into the ovules, one or more two are entered. So one fuses with ovule and convert into zygote, and the one is left. So that undergo mitosis and convert into endosperm. Okay, so one sperm may convert into zygote, that is called early embryo, and the second which is left, it is convert into endosperm tissue, which is formed from endo. And its important function is that to store food for the growth of a seed, and the outer coat which develops from the wall of ovule, and the seed coat which develops from the wall of the ovule. Okay, so now we will discuss in detail, okay, what is happen inside the body of a plant. So first is that seed coat. So what is that seed coat? You can also see the figure which is given in your book. This is the structure of dicot seed. So I will explain you the meaning of dicot seed. Dicot means which have two seeds inside them. There are some seeds which are monocot. Monocot means single seed. For example, mango and dicot seed. Dicot seed means which have two seeds inside them. For example, apple and other fruits. So we will discuss the structure of seed. First is seed coat or testa. Okay, develops from the integument. Integument is the walls of the ovule from which the seed is which cover the seed. So testa develops from the integument, originally surrounding the ovule. Okay, so it covered the whole part of the ovule. It may be a paper. It may be a paper thin layer, for example, peanut, or thick and hard, for example, coconut. So what is its structure? It may be a paper thin, you can see in the diagram. It can may be a paper thin, okay, and it can be a hard like a coconut. So seed coat protects embryo from mechanical injury and from drying out. So important function of seed coat is that it protects embryo from mechanical injury and from drying out. So there is a scar on seed coat which is called helium. There is a scar on seed coat which is called helium. Its important function is that it is where the seed is attached to ovary wall through. Its important function, this scar helium is attached with the ovary. You can see here in the diagram, this is helium and this is showing two seeds. This is one seed and this is another seed. And it is a helium, it is a scar which attach the seed with the ovary. Okay, so this is a you can see in the diagram, this is a radicle. The early shoot of the plant is called radicle. Oh, sorry, the early root of the plant is called radicle, and the early shoot of the plant is called plumule. Okay, so we will discuss, it is the seed attached to a ovipore. At one end of helium there is the micropyle. This is the same opening through which the pollen tube entered ovule. Seed uses it for the absorption of water. So you can see the structure of a seed coat. Structure of the seed coat. This is the outer part of the seed. This is called seed coat. In the center, there are two seeds which are called cotyledons. In the center of the seed, there is a scar which is called helium. Okay, and there is early root which is called a radicle. This is the early stem which is going upward. That is called a early shoot. Okay, and so it is. This is the same opening. Okay, at one end of helium there is microphyll. There is one end of helium, there is a microphyll. I hope you can understand it. Okay, bete, you can see uh, I am telling you about the structure of a seed. Now come to next page. Okay, bete, embryo is actually an immature plant. What is an embryo? It is an immature plant. It consists of a radicle, a plumule, and two cotyledon seedling, which you have seen in the diagram. The radicle of embryo develops into a new root. I have told you it will develop into a new root. Plumule develops into a new shoot. So shoot is also called stem. So the embryonic stem above the point of attachment cotyledon is called epicotyle. The embryonic stem, the stem which is started from embryo, that point is called epicotyle. Okay. The embryonic stem below the point of attachment is called hypocotyle. Okay, so epicotyle and hypocotyle. Underline in your book. These are important for your short questions. You define epicotyle or hypocotyle, and it can also like what is the difference between two. Okay, so the what is the difference between two? The embryonic stem above the point of attachment is called uh, is called uh, at cotyledon is called epicotyle. The embryonic stem below the point of attachment is called hypocotyle. Okay, so you have to underline this is very important. Now come to next. Within seed there is a store of nutrients for the seedlings that will for the embryo. In that for the embryo there is a store of nutrients. There is a store of nutrients for the seedling that will grow from embryo. I have told you when these sperms are entered into the body of a plant, so one is fuses with ovule and convert into seed, and the second one is convert into endosperm, which store the nutrients. In angiosperm the stored food is derived from the endosperm tissue. This tissue is rich in oil or starch and protein. So which thing is present inside the tissue that is rich in oil or starch and protein? In many seeds, the food of the endosperm is absorbed and stored by cotyledons. So it is stored by cotyledons. Okay, I hope you understand it. And look at the box. The form of the stored nutrients in
से
seeds
क्वेश्चन पूछना
varies
है
depend on the kind of plant. Yes, bete, you can ask.
वैसे प्लूमूल क्या है
जी बेटे,
व्हाट इज प्लूमूल
प्लोम्यूल, हाँ ये मैंने आपको भी बताया, ये आपके यहाँ पे दिया है. The radicle of embryo develops into new root and plomule develops into new shoot. If you see the diagram on previous page, look at this diagram. Your answer is good. This is the internal structure of a seed. Okay, this is the seed coat. Inside the seed coat there are two seeds. Okay, you can see two seeds. These are dicot. Okay, and in the center here the seed is going to be developed. This is the main part. This is the embryo of the seed. Okay, you can see embryo. So the part, this is called radicle. Radicle is showing the root, and this is showing the plomule. Plomule will grow upward and radicle will grow downward. Is it clear? So what is a plomule? A radicle is a root, and plomule is a early shoot. The early stem of a plant is called shoot. Okay. So plomule is a early shoot. It will develop upward, and radicle, this is a root. It will develop downward. Is it clear?
यस यस
Okay. So keep in your mind, in simple words, you can also write here root, and you can also write here a shoot. A shoot means stem. You can write here stem, and you can write here root. So then you can learn it easily. Okay. So bete, we have discussed our topic till today. We have discussed development and structure of seed. till page number 83. So next topic is that germination of seed, and we will discuss in our next lecture because time is short. Okay, if you have any question in your mind, you can ask. Raise your hand and you can ask the question. And Habibullah, you never send me your register, homework register. What is the reason?
मिस मैं पिछले 1 हफ्ते से मिस लाहौर में नहीं थे, इस वजह से।
और बेटे आप मेरे साथ क्लास कब से ज्वाइन की हुई आपने? आप मेरे ख्याल से ईद के बाद से आप आ रहे हो, ठीक है ना?